In the heart of the African Savanna, there was a kingdom known as Mena, a land of rolling hills, vast plains, and dense forests. For generations, Mena was a peaceful realm, but all of that changed with the rise of a formidable warrior named Kwanza. Kwanza was born into a humble family in a small village. From a young age, he exhibited extraordinary strength and a strategic mind. As he grew, so did his ambition. Kwanza trained relentlessly, mastering the art of war and building a loyal following of warriors who admired his prowess and vision. One fateful day, the king of Mena fell ill, and the kingdom was left vulnerable. Sensing an opportunity, Kwanza rallied his forces and launched a surprise attack on the capital. The battle was fierce, but Kwanza's tactical brilliance and unmatched skill in combat led him to victory. He seized the throne, declaring himself the new ruler of Mena. Kwanza's rule began with promises of prosperity and strength, but his hunger for power soon turned dark. He embarked on a campaign of conquest, crushing neighboring tribes and kingdoms with ruthless efficiency. His army, known for its brutal tactics, spread fear across the land. Villages were burned, crops destroyed, and countless lives lost. Those who resisted were shown no mercy. Kwanza's message was clear: submit or perish. As Kwanza's empire expanded, so did the suffering of his people. Heavy taxes were imposed to fund his endless wars, and dissent was met with swift and brutal punishment. The once thriving lands of Mena were now marked by grief and despair. Families were torn apart, and famine spread as resources were diverted to fuel Kwanza's insatiable ambition. Despite his cruelty, Kwanza remained a brilliant strategist. His enemies, though many, could not match his cunning on the battlefield. For years, he reigned supreme, his name synonymous with terror and power. However, all reigns come to an end. As Kwanza grew older, so did the resentment among his people. Whispers of rebellion began to circulate. Secret meetings were held, and alliances were formed among those who had suffered under his tyranny. The spark of resistance ignited into a full-fledged rebellion when a young warrior named Tebaho emerged as a leader among the oppressed. Tebaho, whose family had been decimated by Kwanza's forces, possessed the same fierce determination that had once driven Kwanza himself. He united the disparate factions of rebels and launched a coordinated uprising. Battles raged across Mena as Tebaho's forces, driven by the desire for freedom, began to reclaim territory from Kwanza's grasp. The final confrontation came at the gates of the capital, where Kwanza had first seized power. The city, now a shadow of its former self, became the stage for a battle that would decide the fate of Mena. Kwanza, though older, fought with the ferocity of a cornered lion. But the years of bloodshed and tyranny had taken their toll. Tebaho's forces, driven by the hope of a new dawn, overpowered the once invincible warrior. In his last moments, Kwanza stood atop the palace walls, surveying the ruins of the empire he had built through conquest and fear. He knew his time had come. As the rebels breached the gates, Kwanza faced his fate with the same fierce resolve that had defined his life. Tebaho confronted him, and in a final, epic duel, the young warrior struck down the tyrant. With Kwanza's death, the era of brutal rule ended. Tebaho, now the leader of a liberated Mena, vowed to rebuild the kingdom and restore peace. The scars of Kwanza's tyranny would take time to heal, but under Tebaho's guidance, hope began to return to the land. The story of Kwanza the Conqueror became a cautionary tale, a reminder of the fine line between power and tyranny, and the enduring strength of those who fight for justice and freedom.